We, very early on in our lives, we questioned the media. When we were young, we were criticising British and American policy on Vietnam.
Yeah, we were.
And on South Africa. Sue was trained as a dress designer. I trained as a cabinet maker who sort of morphed into a furniture designer, into a product designer, into an architect, just by assuming that I could do it. We love reading. Sue was always interested in Middle Eastern costume.
Yes, very much.
Collected Middle Eastern costume. And we began to encounter, in the early days when we went down to lectures and demonstrations on the South Bank, and we'd have screaming Zionists shouting at us when we came out of discussions. This was, what's the famous actress?
I just had it and that's gone again. Vanessa Redgrave, a very famous actress.
Who lives,
she's probably
her career
now.
was damaged by Zionists. When we started out being critical and what we regard as free thinkers, we're not religious, we're free thinkers, yeah? Dogmatic about things. You've got to learn from it, listen to it, and be a free thinker and develop it. Like I cannot accept different heights of relationship between human beings, be they gay or women or anything else. We're all brothers and sisters. Years ago, I worked in Dubai. My labourers were Afghan, my craftspeople were Pakistani, my bosses were Dubaians, Sheikh Rashid, minions controlled me because I was building schools when there's just desert there, nothing, no roads. Well, the roads were there, but we ignored them. We just drove across the sand very fast. Yeah, when I was there, it was just a creep. Yeah. My administrators were Palestinian, and whenever I had to go and have a meeting with them, there was this big room and everybody sat in chairs, and because I was on a project, the senior administrator had lots of people coming to see him. I got to asking, the Palestinians always seem sad, you know, and I got to asking them about things. And the people around didn't understand because they were all Dubaians or Pakistanis or Bangladeshi labourers or something, you know, with a problem. And because I used to have to wait sometimes hours, and then when I met the guy and we had a talk, it didn't always concentrate on the job in hand. It would be a few hours later before I got out. And so I learnt a lot. I learnt a lot. I've worked for years in Indonesia. Everybody there was Muslim. Very nice, moderate people. And in Singapore, a lot of my administrators, when I worked there, they had a very strong attitude about politics and religion not dividing society. And they had strong regulations. You couldn't cover your whole face. That was illegal, which meant that motorcyclists couldn't wear full-face helmets. It applied to men and women. In Dubai, of course, in the souks and that, all the women were always covered. You know, I've still got it upstairs. I got a full Arab dress because we used to work from about 3 o'clock in the morning till about midday, and then it'd get too hot.
A lot of it was Vanessa Redgrave's influence, because she was a famous actress, and she was always giving talks about the Palestinians. She'd arrange meetings and people would go. So the message was sort of spreading. No, I'd never been well enough to go.
And
I would have loved to
I think
go.
by the time we had enough money to go,
We couldn't.
we couldn't. No, they would. I think they'd give us a lot of aggravation. Badge. The Israelis control all access to Palestine, and the arse-licking Egyptians do what the Americans. I don't mean all Egyptians, by the way. I mean who want America's money. Like 3 billion goes to Israel from America. 3 billion. An unsinkable aircraft carrier for America. American policy. Disruptive. Very disruptive and destructive.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
I keep interrupting.
It was her, and then for me, well, that got us both thinking, and then Frank met all these lovely administrators in Dubai, who were Palestinian, and they talked about their story.
Their experiences, you
and,
see. Real life experiences.
Yeah, I studied fashion and I love ethnic clothes very, very much.
And Sue donated a dress and it's auctioned for 1,500 quid, didn't it?
Yeah, it raised £1,500.
There are other reasons, there are undercurrents to our attitude to Palestinians. We're sympathetic. My family, half my family, has been seriously affected by warfare because it's half Belgium. My grandmother was a refugee here in England, and a lot of our family escaped from various things, including the Russian Revolution and stuff. And so the loss, if you lose property, that's one thing. You lose your phone, it gets stolen, you get very upset. But if you lost your house, you get even more upset. Or say you lose your house for a while and then you go back to it and you find it all stripped out, it's been robbed. But you lose your property, you lose your house, and then you lose your land. You can't go back. And we understand it in a different way as well, because our grandchildren, one lot are half Russian and one lot are half Japanese. And one of the important things for them is that they always are proud of their roots and their both cultures, not just one. And one of the things I was doing with students in Singapore was making them proud to be Asian. They're always too respectful of Western everything. The West is okay, but it's not architecture. But the roots of a lot of them, the mathematics, is from a bigger society. You can't be egotistical about it, you know. You only have to look at people who are awarded prizes for science and see that it's international. Knowledge is international. Intellectualism is international. Morals are international. Like with Mohammed and that. I understand and I admire the people who've tried to make coherent moral societies. But that work should carry on. If somebody gets at me about free thinking, nothing that I say is not truthful. And if somebody gets at me or bullies me, I want to do it twice as much back. Not violently. Don't try and stop me from telling the truth. And Zionists are especially repellent group of people. They claim they're a race. What a load of old bollocks that is.
Yeah. I've seen that because we had a local group here, pro-Palestine, and we used to go on little demos of our own creating and stand outside shops and try and persuade people not to buy Israeli things. And the Israeli bully boys would turn up and they'd start bullying us and saying, well, yeah. So we have experienced that, and it's not nice.
We're not going to give in to it. And a lot of our neighbours said, shouldn't you cool it down a bit? You might, because a couple came up to me and they were ranting and raving at us.
I think they were probably American,
well, or Israeli. They just turned up in the street, and some neighbours came out because they were so shrill, to protect us, because they were shouting. But they were suggesting, well, you want to be careful, somebody might throw paint at your house. But they said it. These Israeli Zionists said that to us in a street in London.
And there were lots of our neighbours and that began shouting at them.
Yeah, they were upset.
Why can't they put up what they...
That's why I was writing this, because about the media and the misuse of language in the media. The total reversal of everything. You know, as if, look, was it the Norwegian lad who shot all those kids on an island? Yeah. Christian terrorist. Did anybody say he was a Christian terrorist? No, he was a nutter. If Israelis go into the temple on the mount and shoot some Muslims, which they have done, were they called terrorists? Oh no. for God's sake.